Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our second podcast. My name is Susan Pomfret. I am the Senior Vice President of the Heckham Lending Division at Cross Country Mortgage, and I'm so happy to be able to offer you secrets in retirement income planning. And I'd like to introduce my buddy, Jim, over here. Jim, few words.
Hey, Susan, how are you today? It sounds like you are nice and chipper this morning. So I want to say good morning to both you as well as the best producer in the industry, Lauren Famigliati. Let me ask you this, Susan. What are we talking about today? I got up late about 10 minutes ago, so I'm just curious. What are we talking about?
We're going to talk about Social Security. Hot subject, right?
Yeah. No, that's a good subject.
And I'm going to start with a question. I'm going to start with a question for you, Jim.
Okay, go for it.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So, what is the best age to claim Social Security?
Okay, let's start off with a nice, easy one. There are so many variables that come into play, but I'll tell you what, if the client can answer one question and one question alone, they can know when they should take Social Security. Social Security, you can start taking at age 62, anywhere between age 62 and 70. But the best time to take it is if you can answer this question. You ready for the question, Susan?
I'm ready.
The question is, when are you going to die? So if you as a client or as a retiree / pre-retiree can answer that question, you know exactly when to take Social Security. What's unfortunate is that most people don't know. So, and if you don't know, then it gets a lot more complicated. So from there, you need to look at, well, how is my health? Because the break-even point between taking it early at age 62 and waiting and taking it at age 70 is somewhere between age 80 and 81. So if you don't think as a pre-retiree or as a person in your early 60s that you're going to live to your 80s, then it's probably a better idea to take it earlier. If you think you have a long line in your family, people living into their 90s, maybe over 100, so you'll most likely live a very long and happy life. In that situation, it's definitely better to really look hard about waiting and taking it at age 70. But again, if you don't know when you're going to die, and most of us don't, there's really so many variables that come into play. You know, do you plan on continuing to work in your 60s? What other savings and investments do you have? What's your family situation? Are you a widower? You know, what other taxable income do you have? There's a lot of different questions that need to be answered to make an informed decision. And so one of the things I want to touch on is I just mentioned savings and investments, what savings and investments you have. Because if you decide that you want to wait till age 70, you have about 8 years there where if you're going to retire, say, somewhere in your 60s, and you're going to wait to take the income at age 70, how are you going to survive for those 8+ years? And there's a lot of different options for you, whether it's you have retirement savings with a 401k, maybe you have a bunch of money in your savings account, a lot of different ways you can go. And what I would not do is take anything off the table. You need to look at all your different options. One of the options, Susan, is right up your alley, and hopefully you can just touch on it a little bit, is that maybe looking at a reverse mortgage as a possibility of getting you from age 62 to age 70. So I know a little bit about that, Susan, and luckily you are the expert on that. So let me ask you this, would a reverse mortgage be a viable option for a person in their early 60s to survive till they get to age 70 so they can take a higher Social Security check?
Absolutely, and thank you. And we see that a lot more nowadays, not only direct from the consumer and the borrowers, but the financial planners are trying to figure out how their clients can defer that Social Security to age 70 without depleting their retirement investments. So what they can do with the home equity conversion mortgage, they can take that monthly income, well, not income, but funds. They can take those monthly funds to offset collecting early. So from 62 to 70, they use the HECM or the reverse mortgage to supplement their income and give them Social Security funds, right? Hold off till you're 70, and then you can put all the rest of the HECM proceeds in a line of credit to access as you need it. So at least that 8-year period, let's say, will give you the option of having that money available to you, but yet not touching the Social Security until 70, which is going to be at the max, right? We spoke about this, Jim, before, and maybe we can go over that as far as when you and I were talking, collecting at 62 compared to 70 is quite a difference. And if we can use the HECM or the reverse mortgage to supplement the income till age 70, I think that is a win-win for everybody. But maybe you can just let the viewers know, like, what difference is it from 62 to 70?
Absolutely. And you know what, Susan, there is a huge difference between the two. Social Security started, the first check was sent out in 1940. Okay. And the reason why it was sent out in 1940 is because the average lifespan in 1940 was age 65. So the first person that received it was actually age 65. So the government was pretty smart here in that they knew that they only had to send out Social Security checks for half the population. Because if the lifespan is age 65, half of them have already passed away. So the challenge nowadays is that people are obviously living a lot longer. Medicine is getting better. People are being healthier. And that's one of the big reasons why Social Security, I wouldn't say is in dire straits, but they've got some challenges that they have to deal with. And it's more political will than anything else. So let's take, and I like nice, easy numbers, Susan. Let's take the typical retirement age of being 66. Most retirees, it's going to be somewhere between 66 and 67. Let's say they're going to receive $1,000 per month if they decide to take Social Security age 66. What happens is that every year that they defer it, the amount of the check that you will get grows by right around 8%. And that's a huge deal. I mean, there's nothing out there right now. This is not the 80s where you can get 5.5% in a savings account. There's nothing that's going to get you 8% growth each year, fully guaranteed for between age 62 and 70. So let's take an example. If you were going to retire at age 66 and get $1,000, if you waited those 4 years, that monthly check 4 times, let's say 8%, would be 32%. So your check would go from $1,000 to basically $1,320 per month. So think about, we're talking about $320 per month more from age 70 until you pass away. And it's even more evident if you decide to take the Social Security age 62. Now you're talking about 64 to 70% growth if you waited. And I mean, that's a huge difference. So what age you take Social Security is such an important decision for retirees. You can't take it lightly. And I would suggest everyone just goes to the Social Security website, ssa.gov. They have a lot of great information. They even have a very basic calculator that you can get a basic idea. Now, I would also suggest for financial advisors out there, there's a lot more robust software out there. I know the marketing organization that I partner with, DMI, they have strategic partnerships where we can offer those types of robust Social Security calculators at a reduced cost to the financial advisor. So little plug there, but that's okay. So again,
No, that's great.
for a decision that's so important, you can't take it lightly. And if you can wait till age 70, it's worth it. But again, the biggest question you have to answer is, how is the health? Now, Susan, I have a question. Earlier, you mentioned about HECM and reverse mortgages. I have probably one easy question for you and maybe one not so easy question. Is a reverse mortgage the same thing as HECM? Is question number one. And the second question is, so if a person decides to take Social Security at age 70 and they take a HECM from age 62, so they get an income stream to 70, do they have to pay that money back, or how does that work?
Great questions. Thanks, Jim. So a home equity conversion mortgage, a HECM, is insured by FHA and is available to those 62 or older. A reverse mortgage is typically a jumbo product for higher valued homes and is available to those 60 or older. So we have both programs available to them. As far as paying it back, there's no prepayment penalty. They can pay it back at any time. However, they don't have to pay it back until they move out of the property, sell the property, or pass away. So even if they took the reverse mortgage or the HECM for those 8 years, and they don't have to pay it back. They could continue to live in the home for as long as they want to and pay it back at the end. So it's a really important product to put in the mix of your conversations with your financial advisor and in general. So that's pretty much, like, Jim, we're here to just give out educational information and some secrets that we've learned with our RICP designation. And we're hoping to do that every 2 weeks. So I think our time is up because we promised it's going to be around 12 minutes of your time, and we don't want to take much longer. So I think we covered everything. So I think we're good to go. But again,
Good.
Jim, thank you so much. Lauren, thank you for being the best director ever. And we hope to see you all in another 2 weeks. Have a great day.
That sounds great. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thanks.
Take care.